Twist the bones and bend the back.
Ichita, Copita, Melaka, Mystica.
Trim him of his baby fat.
Ichita, Copita, Melaka, Mystica.
Give him fur black as black, just
like this.
Again? Come on. Welcome to Monster Menagerie, brought to you by the Paladin Archives. I am your humble host, Mason Kren. Mason is my title, Kren is my name. This is the show where we break down monster lore and see if the Paladin Order has what it takes to bring in or bring down monsters from pop culture. Our first season was all about vampires. Season 2 explored the world of demons. And this year, oh yeah, it's all about witches. And of course, since it's spooky season, I'm giving you not one, not two, but a full trio of witches. That's enough to make your classic coven, but don't tell our witches this month because I don't want to have to decide which one's the maiden, which one's the mother, and which one's the crone. Because this month, we have the queens of Halloween, Salem's own Sanderson Sisters. Yes, the Sanderson Sisters. You're getting a 3-for-1 this month because, really, did you think I could split them up? Hocus Pocus was a Disney movie from 1993 that was an instant cult classic, invading the Halloween watch traditions of families for decades until they finally got a sequel in 2022. 30 years later. What is time? Where does it go? Do we all just drift endless in its river, unaware of its speed and course until it drops off into a waterfall out into the endless void? Before I drift too far into staring at the void and hoping it doesn't stare back, I'd appreciate if you gave us a like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Okay, about time to jump into the analysis, but just a heads up, things may look a little different this time. Since I'm going over 3 witches, I needed to alter my format, otherwise I'd be tripling the video's runtime. The sections may be a little different just this one time, but I promise it's the same analysis we always do. And, as always, we're only looking at the first movie, not the sequel, and not any of those weird Disneyland specials or anything else that they've been in over the years. Just the first movie. Okay, light that candle, open the book, and make sure you have a circle of salt just in case. It's time to look at Winifred, Mary, and Sarah, the Sanderson Sisters.
Hello, sailors! My name's Winifred! What's yours? I put a...
As always, I just want to stress again that we're only looking at the singular source material, Hocus Pocus. No sequels, no Disneyland stage shows, no Elvira specials, just the original work. And based on that, we have quite the little history for you. 1693, Salem. Our lovely ladies were not so lovely at the time, their bodies failing due to the ravages of aging. What? Well, I don't have a joke for that. Why are you zooming in on me? I'm not old. Anyway, in order to stave off the Reaper just a bit longer, the sisters concoct a plan to drain the youth from the only child in Salem? Well, a child in Salem at any rate. Emily Binks, little sister of Thackeray? Is that a real name? Hold on.
2 hours later.
Okay, apparently it was a name, and it's related to Zachary, which is what I and every other child that watched this thought that they were saying. And I guess it has something to do with, thorns or briar patches. Super uncommon. Anyway, Oh, right. Sarah lures in little Emily Binks, and despite her older brother's attempt to stop the witches, they succeed in draining her soul, restoring their youth. They then turn their magic on Thackeray. A couple of Ichita Copitas and a Melaka Mystica, and boom! Binks the cat, cursed to live forever with the guilt of having failed his sister. But fortunately for the town, if not Kitty Boy himself, Thackeray's friend rallied the entire village and they stormed the witch's hut. Cut to 3 witches in nooses doing their final dance on the tiny stages of 3 barrels. One warning/curse from the witches, and each one is giving a quick drop and a sudden stop. Thus ends the Sanderson Sisters. But they lived! Sort of. Their souls were bound to the black flame candle, and, should it be lit by a virgin on Halloween night, the sisters would return to have their vengeance. And you'll never guess what happens 300 years later. This is Max, confirmed virgin. We know because he and every other character in this purportedly Disney movie mention it.
What happened?
A virgin lit the candle.
Brave little virgin who lit the candle.
You lit the black flame candle.
And he's a virgin.
Are you a virgin?
Yeah.
My brother's a virgin. He lit the black flame candle. Zachary Beans, what took thee so long?
I'm sorry, Emily. I had to wait 300 years for a virgin to light a candle.
Now, Max and his awkward attempts to woo Allison are of little consequence to our analysis, as are all the insanely awkward things his 8-year-old sister talks about.
I don't have any. What do you call them, Max? Yabos? Max likes her yabos.
I'm skipping most of their stuff. Suffice it to say that confirmed virgin Max Dennison lights the black flame candle and bam, the witches are back. The kids snag Winifred's one-eyed book, not a euphemism, it's bound in flesh and has an eyeball, and hightail it, which leads to a series of comic misunderstandings as these witches, who by all rights shouldn't be able to speak to anyone in 1993, freak out over asphalt, buses, Halloween costumes, and more. Now, to make it clear, the witches have until sunrise before they explode and turn to dust, with their only hope being to reacquire the book and reproduce the potion they made 300 years ago. All they need is one, I repeat, one child's soul sucked out, and they escape the curse of the morning sun and can live to terrorize another day. Let's keep that in mind. The witches have a few brief encounters with the kids, but mostly they're just wasting a lot of time trying to understand the modern world and dancing with who they apparently think is Satan. Awkward. Of major note, however, they put a spell over the majority of Salem's adult population who, apparently, all went to the same Halloween party. No kids allowed. In a nutshell, they curse the grown-ups to dance until they die, effectively taking them out of the picture, so it's 3-on-3. Free to chase the kids, they're lured into the local high school and tricked into entering the school's industrial freaking kiln. Oh, it's not a steak, but they're damn sure getting burned alive with their ashes floating up into the night sky. While the kids and their new talking cat take a well-earned rest thinking they've won, the witches reconstitute themselves, and apparently know French now. Without the book and not knowing where the kids are, they try to recreate the spell from memory but fail. Can't blame them, I don't remember what I did yesterday, much less 300 years ago. The kids, feeling like they've won, decide to be a little irresponsible and look through the book for a cure to Binks's condition. Little do they realize that this act allows the book to call out to its true master. Our witches track down the kids, kidnap the little girl Danny and her new talking cat friend, recover their book, and just for kicks, Sarah heads out into the night to gather all the children of Salem with her enchanting song. If I may, that song, Come Little Children, Sarah Jessica Parker sang that herself. And as a child, and even now as an adult, it still bewitches me. Yes, I had a crush on her. Still very much do. Anyway, with the potion brewed and a literal town's worth of children to choose from, the witches managed to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. Max and Allison interrupt their ceremony, rescue Danny and Binks, and topple their cauldron of potion. They rush off, but Winifred finds that they've just enough potion left to make a single vial. Enough for one child. This This right here, this is where all they had to do, by their own admission, was force-feed it to one of Max's bullies or one of the literal dozens and dozens of bewildered children sitting right outside their literal door.
This is perfect for that little tow-headed brat.
We have a child.
Here!
And look, Winnie, more children are arriving.
But nope, too easy. They want Max to suffer. They demand Danny. So off they go, flying to beat the morning sun as they chase down Max and company, who are hiding in a graveyard with Winnie's dead ex. Oh, did I mention she resurrected her zombie ex-boyfriend? Honestly, he barely affected the plot, but I guess he was chasing the kids on her behalf until just now. Anyway, since witches can't land on hollowed ground, they menace the children from the air, trying to get Danny. When Winifred finally grabs her, she loses the potion, which is caught by Max. In a display of less than stellar reasoning, Max decides to offer himself up in Danny's place and drinks the potion right there. But when Winifred snags him, he of course fights back. Come on, man. Not cool. When you make a promise, you stand behind it. Winnie falls into the cemetery and is turned into a statue, while each of her sisters is caught by the first rays of morning light.
Winnie!
And obliterated. And finally, as the sun comes down on her stone form, Winnie explodes and joins her sisters. Thus ends the Sanderson Sisters. Until 2022, at least. The Sanderson Sisters are quite the bag of abilities mixed with limitations and weaknesses. And really, that doesn't even have to do with the fact I'm analyzing all three at once. It's more that, for as dangerous as they are, they're also, and I say this with all the love and respect in the world, all you Hocus Pocus fans, they're incompetent. Let's look at what they can do and what their limitations are. Lightning and telekinesis, Winifred. A green lightning, often called electrokinesis, is the signature ability of Winifred Sanderson. Like a slightly less frumpy Emperor Palpatine, she wields this power indiscriminately and without limits. It manifests as arcs of green electricity, a green fireball, and she can even use it to physically manipulate her targets. On top of this, she also holds the power to literally raise the dead. Her ex-lover, Billy, was summoned as a zombie to do her bidding, though apparently her control over him was limited, if it existed at all. He got fed up with her within hours and betrayed her. Now, it's possible that somehow the stitches that held his mouth shut were part of the curse and that cutting them freed him, but that's purely hypothetical. Lastly, she has a special connection with the book that we don't see the other two exhibit. It's like her pet or her child, and given the right circumstances, the book will fly to her, flip to the exact page she needs, even when she doesn't know what she needs. Oh, and of course, it can create a spotlight to lead her to its location. Enhanced smell, Mary. I'm making it sound better than it is, but Mary has one power. She can smell children, but hey, like Bruce Lee probably said, fear not the witch that has practiced 10,000 smells once, but the witch that has practiced one smell 10,000 times. Bruce Lee was weird. Anyway, point is, when it comes to children, Mary can not only smell them, she can hunt them like a bloodhound and even tell you their gender and age. Enchanting songs. For kids, Sarah. Easily the most scatterbrained of the group, Sarah also has the most enchanting voice. We see her lure in children easily just by singing her signature song. Though I will point out, it seems the song doesn't affect adults or children who are actively attempting to resist it. Max and company are clearly in the blast zone of her song while they warn the other children not to listen, but notice that not one of them is taking precautions of their own to drown out the sound. No earplugs, no loud music, not even clamping hands over their ears. Flight, curses, potion making, group powers. All 3 witches have the capacity to fly on brooms, though apparently it's not restricted to just brooms. We see Sarah utilize a mop and Mary a vacuum cleaner. Now, does it need to be a cleaning implement? Unknown, but the sisters aren't terribly bright, so the logic follows. On top of this, the 3 can combine their powers to create more powerful curses than Winifred can do alone. At the beginning of the film, they join together to turn Thackeray Binks into an immortal cat, while later in the movie, they enchant the majority of the town's adults into dancing all night, leaving them free to kidnap their children. Lastly, at least 2 of the 3 witches show highly athletic strength by lifting up the children in question without much effort. Winifred herself manages to scoop up Danny one-handed and lift Max by his collar without trying. I'm lenient enough to assume that all 3 can do it. Oh, actually, one more thing. Sometimes I have to note powers that aren't pointed out by the source material, but they have to exist for the plot to make sense. Like when I pointed out that Edward Cullen clearly has the ability to alter his own body mass. See Episode 2, Season 1. Well, similarly, the Sanderson sisters, despite suffering from future shock throughout the whole movie, adapt surprisingly well, but only in specific moments. Perhaps it's a cultural clairvoyance? Sarah, for example, picks up how to drive a bus without any issue, and Winifred specifically asks Max for his driver's permit when she chases him down. It comes and goes, but you never know when the sisters will understand the modern day and when they won't. Weaknesses. First off, we learn late in the film that salt acts as a ward to protect from the witches. This is actually fairly common with various occult threats. Ghosts, some forms of vampires, demonic entities, all of them are well known to be repelled by salt for its purifying capabilities. Hallowed ground is the last known weaknesses the witches have. Again, a staple in demonic creatures. Just take a look back at last season with Crowley. Apparently just touching the ground of a cemetery will turn the sisters into statues. Lastly, and I hesitate to add this here, but if I didn't really, I wouldn't be doing my job. Hocus Pocus fans, please forgive me, but their biggest weakness is their own incompetence. Look, I get it, they're suffering from future shock, but the level of their incompetence is truly staggering sometimes. As I mentioned in their backstory, they had a buffet of children to dine on, and literally only needed one to win. Surrounded by nothing but paths to victory, they expertly dodged all possible wins and eked out a failure. Let's put it bluntly, Max was dumb to run away before making sure all the potion was gone. But the sisters were dumber to not just force one of the kids that were there to drink it and then drain them right then and there. Curse ended, life extended at least long enough to brew another potion. After all, Max was content to hide in the cemetery with his sister and Allison. They would have happily sat there until dawn and then just assumed they won, just like they did with the kiln. All the sisters had to do was drink one child out of dozens that were literally sitting there in front of them. Then they could take their time, recapture Danny, kill Max, laugh as the town's adults dance themselves to death. It takes a truly staggering level of incompetence, arrogance, and sheer stupidity to foul that one up. And when your baseline includes Mary and Sarah, that's saying something. Okay, just wow. I don't really know how to rank the level of these witches. On paper, they're near unbeatable, but in practice, a group of 3 kids and a talking cat took them out in one night. To paraphrase a metaphor I used last year, they're like Winnie the Pooh with a shotgun. Theoretically dangerous, but he'll probably lose the gun and get his head stuck in a jar of honey. The same goes for the Sanderson sisters. They have all the tools to win, but fail to execute on every conceivable level. So after we detail how to take them down, I'm going to give you 2 different ratings for them, just this once. Their potential threat level and their actual threat level. Guess which one will be lower? First off, we have to counter their magic. The girls are easily intimidated. Shock and awe is an amazing weapon that might actually get them to just surrender. Look at how they hide from firefighters who they judge to be witch hunters. That insinuates that these people, armed with just axes, are a threat to the girls. If actual witch hunters show up to confront them, I can see the younger 2 surrendering on the spot. Show up, identify yourself, make a show of force, Honestly, fire one round from your pistol into the ground, call it a witch pulverizer, and watch 2/3 of them grovel on the spot. But let's say they manage to go on the offensive. I can't tell how powerful Winifred's lightning is, but Max survives it multiple times. At most, he's a bit stunned. This is a Disney movie after all. I'm guessing that since salt protects the kids from the witch's influence, I mean, if Winifred could have tased Allison in that circle of salt, she would have, then white vestments should be more than enough to resist their power. Oh, and honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if that goes for all their powers. Remember that Sarah and Mary's powers are virtually useless in a fight. They can fly, but I see no evidence that they do so at any great speed. Actually, it's more than likely that to them, a flight of 10 or 15 miles per hour would be the fastest they could comprehend ever even going. After all, back in the 1600s, a man could travel no faster than the fastest horse. That's the bar for what fast even means to these sisters.
Editor Corinne here. I completely spaced on the fact that Winifred chases down Max while he's driving away in a car. This actually gives us a perfect chance to test their speed. So, according to the Internet Movie Car Database, that's a 1991 Ford Explorer, which is about 184 inches long. The strips on the road are about 10 feet long, with 30 feet in between each strip, meaning the start of one strip to the next is 40 feet. Max's car moves that distance, 40 feet, in 20 frames, which at 30 frames per second comes out to 2/3 of a second. 40 feet and 2/3 of a second is 60 feet per second. Convert that and we have the Explorer and thus Winifred going at about 41 miles per hour or 66 kilometers per hour. Not exactly a jet, but still a respectable speed. I still get points though because technically horses have a top speed of 44 miles per hour. So, alright, back to the show.
Child smelling and Sarah's solo songs can basically be ignored. There might be some resistance if Winifred can raise more dead, but it seems like she has to have some connection to them. I get the feeling Billy's curse started when she killed him, and I have no reason to believe that she can raise just any cadaver. If we take the sisters before the black flame candle, they're just mortal women. If we take them during the candle, they're just as inept but functionally invincible. In either case, capture and detainment should be child's play, almost literally. With a bit of creativity and a lot of common sense, the sisters could have been quite a threat. Teaming up, their charm song could potentially hypnotize a group of paladins. They don't seem to need reagents for that spell, or the talking cat spell, which it's heavily implied that the shape of their victim is up to the witches. Done covertly, at a distance, they could ambush paladins, take them out while enchanting other innocents to act as their bodyguards. But realistically, they panic and run. Even if Winifred manages to keep her cool, she's chained to her two sisters. Potential threat level, 2. Actual threat level, 1. Dispatch single parish level squad. Anti-heretic tactics with white vestment recommended to resist spells. Utilize shock and awe tactics. Immediately separate Winifred from her book. Standard artifact isolation recommended. In case of open conflict, utilize salt rounds as primary ammunition for firearms, followed by standard ammunition. If targets are under the protection of the black flame candle, isolate until morning. Okay, time to wrap things up. Let's figure out their witch type. Now, normally this is fairly straightforward, but, sometimes things get weird. We have 3 basic categories for witches. Hellborn, they derive their power from a pact with a demon, forfeiting their souls. Covenant, their power comes from a book or artifact like a wand, which eats at their soul. Separation from the artifact hamstrings them. Lastly, pure witches, those who derive their power naturally, without the need of outside influence, usually from, nature or something. Strangely enough, the Sanderson sisters check all 3 boxes. How that's possible, I'm not sure, but let's take a look. Looking at Mary and Sarah, they fly, they sniff, they sing, all without a book in sight. No magic amulets, no wands, they don't even cast a spell for these. It just happens. That's classic pure witch territory there, and suitably, it's not terribly powerful. But also, look at how dependent Winifred is on that book. She's bound to it. It listens to her, flies to her, and even suggests the spells she needs. Without it, she's weakened considerably. That's literally the plot of the movie. But her magic, is it really dependent on the book? Lastly, and this is the one that throws a real wrench into the works, during the trick-or-treating scene, we see the sisters encounter a man in a devil suit and immediately call out to him, "Master!" It's heavily implied they've not only met the devil, but received their book from him. Yes, I know what happens in Hocus Pocus 2, we're not counting that today. Furthermore, with how intimate Sarah is with him, I think it's even more implied that this isn't her first time dancing. So clearly they get their power from Satan, right? Look, this is a tough one. Honestly, more than one thing can be true at a time. It could be a combination of all three, but here in the order, we have a priority ranking system. It's better to err on the side of caution, so we'll go with the single drop theory and say that since Satan plays so heavily into them, more than likely, he's the source of their power. The Sanderson Sisters are definitely hellborn witches. So, how did I do? Yes, I know a lot of these questions were answered in Hocus Pocus 2, but the main point of Monster Menagerie is to see what we can draw from the source material, and we always narrow it down to a singular point. I mean, if I'd done this video 5 years ago, it'd be perfectly valid to interpret it the way I have. And honestly, since the sequel had a completely different writer, there's no way to know if the answers the second movie gives were what the original creators intended. Still, I think we did a good job today, don't you? The Sanderson Sisters, man. I have been waiting all year to get to them. I hope it was worth the wait for you because I enjoyed it. But if you haven't quite gotten your fill of our witches yet, don't worry. Next month, we have our final witch of the year lined up, and after that, December brings us the Witch Trial. Yes, we're taking every witch we've looked at this year and running them through a coven of witch experts to see which witches make the cut. And best of all, you get to vote. We'll have a link down in the description to our Discord where you can get more info on voting, when the voting begins, and even who our guest witches are this year. It's going to be awesome, so don't miss it. And if you want to make sure you don't miss next month's witch or the witch trial in December, make sure you like and subscribe. We have new episodes every month, and I try to sprinkle in some surprises where and when I can. With all that said, I think we're going to end on something a little different. I want to get you hyped for November because she will be our final witch of the year. Here's our sneak peek. Until next time, remember, keep your eyes peeled. You never know what's hiding out there. See?